Hello everyone, welcome to the Did You Know channel. Before we start, if you're new here, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you get our videos as soon as they come out. If we move now to the Italian city of Pisa, specifically the Tuscany region, we'll find a strange building located in the middle of the Piazza dei Miracoli. The building looks like a very large tower, but it's slightly tilted. As soon as you stand in front of it, you'll notice many tourists taking a certain type of photo that never gets old, all of them in a funny frame, showing their attempt to hold up the tower and save it from falling. For example, you might see someone standing and taking a picture from the side. The tower is leaning toward, trying to support it with their hands using superhuman strength. Of course, this building we're talking about, and which everyone rushes to support, is none other than the famous Leaning Tower of Pisa. But what's the story behind this tower that seems to have no owner? Why is it leaning like this, and why hasn't it fallen yet despite its severe tilt? What is Galileo's connection to the tower? And is it really one of the seven wonders of the world, as people often claim? Back in the 12th century, in Italy, specifically in the city of Pisa, a very great tower was being built to serve as a bell tower for the Cathedral of Pisa. In reality, the goal was not for it to be a tourist landmark. It was built only to hold the cathedral bells, nothing more, nothing less. The tower's design was extremely beautiful. The architects decided to make it with multiple floors, all built from white marble in the Romanesque style. Construction began in 1173, and the first floors were completely straight, upright, like any normal structure. It stayed straight for 5 years, but as soon as the first 3 floors were completed, the tower suddenly started leaning. People were shocked, and the Italians were upset. Nobody knew what was happening, so they decided to wait a short period to see a solution, and paused construction for a year. But still, no solution was found. The person in charge of construction at the time had a heavy heart and decided to build 4 more floors on the tower. By 1178, 4 additional floors were completed. Their justification was that these floors would somehow balance the tower, distributing the weight to the opposite side of the tilt in order to straighten the building. But as we can all see, this great achievement didn't work. The tower leaned even more than before. Imagine what the next person would do to fix it. Of course, they decided, we'll build another floor, completing the tower's floors. By 1372, the 8th and final floor was built. Not only that, they also hung a set of bells, each weighing up to 3 tons. In the end, the building reached a height of 56 meters and leaned approximately 5.5 degrees. Everyone today still waits for it to collapse. Strangely, despite the challenges and disasters the tower has faced, despite people periodically adding weight, bells, and cement, the tower has withstood all of that and is still standing today. Nobody knows exactly how. It's like someone with an old car doing random fixes, opening the hood, tapping the battery, adding a little water, maybe pouring a cup of tea, and somehow the car starts running again. The reason the Leaning Tower of Pisa leans lies in the soil beneath it. The soil is soft and spongy and could not support the tower's weight of over 14,500 tons. It couldn't provide the support necessary to keep it upright. This problem could have been addressed early in construction. When the initial signs of tilting appeared, the first floors should have been removed, the soil reinforced, and then the building reconstructed. But the workers and engineers decided to continue building despite noticing the tilt, thinking future builders could balance the weight on the opposite side to straighten it. Unfortunately, this impossible task has never been achieved, even with modern technology and construction methods. Any attempt to fully straighten the tower has failed. During Benito Mussolini's rule, who was Prime Minister of Italy from 1922 to 1943, the government, under his orders, tried to restore the tower to an upright position and poured a large amount of concrete into its foundations. However, the result was completely unexpected. The concrete added extra weight, causing the tower to sink further and lean even more. If the Leaning Tower of Pisa could talk, it would have a lot to say after everything it has been through. Eventually, the Italian government realized that no random methods would work, and that the problem needed a scientific approach. In February 1990, the government called specialists from around the world to find a solution to save the tower. The agreed-upon logical solution was that the only thing they could do was prevent the tower from falling and keep it stable in its tilted position. The idea of fully straightening it was abandoned completely. Forget about it. All they could do was stop it from collapsing. After discussing ways to stabilize the tower, and after many years of research and work, the tower was closed in January 1990 for adjustments and reopened to visitors in December 2001. Proposed solutions included adding lead weights as a counterbalance and removing about 1 cubic meter of soil from the higher side to achieve the same effect. Although the only thing they could do was stabilize the tower, and all attempts to fully straighten it had failed, this actually worked in its favor. The Leaning Tower of Pisa became one of the most famous tourist landmarks, attracting huge numbers of visitors from all over the world. Tourists were curious not only to visit it, but also to climb it once it became relatively safe. Researchers now say the tower will remain standing for possibly over 300 years, despite surviving many critical moments in its life. It has remained upright and in place since 1372, even though it was originally expected to collapse in its early years due to the soil issue, surprising everyone and earning the well-deserved nickname, the Lucky Tower. However, there was a specific event that could have completely destroyed the tower during World War II. American forces were spreading into Italian cities, and fearing possible snipers in tall towers across Pisa, they immediately ordered the destruction of all towers in the city. Many of Pisa's towers were demolished, but when they reached the Leaning Tower of Pisa to bomb it, for some reason, they were ordered to withdraw immediately and focus elsewhere. The tower was spared. One of the key events that contributed to the Leaning Tower of Pisa's fame is an incident involving the Italian physicist and philosopher Galileo Galilei. At that time, all scholars believed that if two objects were dropped from a height, the heavier one would hit the ground first and the lighter one later. Galileo mathematically proved them wrong. If two objects, one heavy and one light, are dropped from the same height, they reach the ground at the same time, regardless of weight. If you're surprised by this, here's what happened. Galileo conducted a public experiment, gathering many scholars and ordinary people in the Piazza dei Miracoli. He brought one piece of metal weighing 1 kilogram and another weighing 10 kilograms. He asked them, "If we drop these from the top of the Leaning Tower of Pisa, which will hit the ground first?" They said, "Of course, the heavier one." He replied, "Let's see." Galileo dropped both pieces simultaneously, and contrary to expectations, they hit the ground at exactly the same time, despite the difference in weight. Everyone watching witnessed the experiment perfectly. This incident was one of the main reasons for the fame of the Leaning Tower of Pisa. Finally, it is commonly said that the Leaning Tower of Pisa is one of the 7 wonders of the world. Some people speak about it with blind confidence, as if it were a fact, while others say, no, it is not one of the new 7 wonders. To clarify, It is neither part of the old nor the new Seven Wonders. The old Seven Wonders are the Great Pyramid of Giza, the Hanging Gardens of Babylon, the Statue of Zeus, the Temple of Artemis, the Mausoleum at Halicarnassus, the Colossus of Rhodes, and the Lighthouse of Alexandria. The Leaning Tower of Pisa is not included in any list. This does not reduce its importance at all. It remains one of the most famous historical landmarks, not only in Italy, but worldwide. And don't forget, if you have any questions that puzzle you in the middle of the night, write them in the comments below the video so we can answer them. Most of the episodes we make now are based on your comments. Peace.